start the class. So
Okay, sir.
today
Start.
we'll discuss the lathe accessories and attachments, and whatever was left behind we'll try to cover in between when you have time. So we have scheduled like that, and you just try to see the particular lathe accessories which are very important part of the lathe machine. So what are lathe accessories? These are the devices. These are the devices used for the work and tool. These are the devices used for holding the work and tool, and these are called the lathe accessories. These are called the lathe accessories. So you just try to observe. These are the he has given other definition. I have given my general definition. So accessories are nothing but they are the particular devices. Just try to see. These are the devices for holding or supporting a job on a lathe during machining. So this include the lathe centers, the live center and the dead center, faceplate. Faceplate is one of them. Faceplate is nothing but it will be having a, we'll just try to see, it will be having a circular disc with holes on it, and it is, just try to say the particular diagram, then we can explain that particular faceplate. And we have the dog carrier also. Yesterday we have seen in one of the diagrams, it is also known as the lathe dog. All these are very important aspects or the accessories and attachments. We have the chucks, the 3-jaw chuck and the 4-jaw chuck, and one of them is known as the universal chuck, especially the 4-jaw chuck, which can hold any shape of the workpieces, any particular shape. So, and we have the angle plate. Angle plate is used for supporting. It's used as a supporting device. It is mostly used in machine shop and metrology also to conduct some experiments on a for a particular experimentation in a metrology lab. Hello? Hello? Don't.
సార్ మ్యూట్ చేశాను సార్.
ఓకే ఓకే మ్యూట్ చేశాను కానీ అందరూ మళ్ళీ అన్మ్యూట్ చేసుకొని మాట్లాడేస్తున్నారు. నేను అందరూ మ్యూట్ ఆల్ చేశానమ్మా.
ఓకే సార్.
ఓకే. So all these are the angle plate is supporting one, and we have the particular mandrel also. Mandrel we'll just have to discuss. It's a hardened piece of round bar made of carbon steel. So all that particular things we have to discuss. And we have the steady rest also. Steady rest, we have one of the particular steady rest follower, we can say, or the steady rest and follower rest. Steady rest and follower rest we'll just try to see in the diagrams, in the ensuing diagrams. So what are the attachments? These are the accessories. Attachments are the special devices used for special jobs. If the design is other than the simple design, complex design, we try to use the attachment, just like taper turning attachment. We have in one of the taper turning methods, we'll try to discuss because yesterday there was some disturbances or the internet connection or some problem was there. So we have the gear cutting attachment also for cutting the gear on lathe. So that's also one of the attachment, or grinding attachment for performing the grinding operations. Most of the people don't know there's a grinding attachment for the lathe. They only discuss about the drilling attachment. So all these are the particular things, and the lathe centers are used for turning the job between centers. So all these are, and you know, the center is fitted in a spindle nose. Already we have discussed this live center and dead center. So you know why dead center is called the dead center, because it does not revolve with the job, and the job is held between these two lathe centers. Already we have discussed a number of times. So directly we'll go to the faceplate. Diagrams we will try to see in between. So the faceplate is screwed on the spindle nose. at the headstock side. So we have the faceplate, we have a circular disc with holes on it. So it consists of a threaded section in which the nose of the lathe spindle is fixed, in which the nose of the lathe spindle is fixed. So all that are very important aspects. So it is usually used for workpieces. So why we have to use faceplate? Because it is usually used for workpieces that cannot be held properly by centers and chucks. If the particular workpiece cannot be held by the dead center and the 3-jaw chuck and the 4-jaw chuck, we try to use the faceplate. We try to use the faceplate. We will try to see the diagram also. So slots are provided on the faceplate. Slots means circular holes, or slots are provided on this particular faceplate. So this, so you have to bolt that for bolting the angle plate. So if we want to bolt the angle plate for holding a typical right angle bend jobs. If you want right angle bend jobs, you have to use the faceplate. And already I told you, faceplate is used for workpieces that cannot be held properly by the centers and chucks. So that is one of the things for holding right angle bend jobs for boring operation. So all this is one of the aspects of the particular this one faceplate. So diagrams we'll just try to see whenever they come in between. So the job itself is bolted on the faceplate. You can easily bolt because we have the particular circular holes or discs where we have the threaded portions, and we can easily whatever job we want to machine it, we try to fix on the faceplate, and we try to use that for the as an accessory, lathe accessory for the subsequent machining of the job. So we have an open slot in the faceplate. So open slot in the faceplate already we have just shown in one of the diagrams yesterday. In one of the operations, why the open slot is there in the faceplate? It is provided for the dock carrier. So we'll just try to see in the diagram 6.63. That also we can see, because it grips the job with its bolt, and the other end with the open slot of the faceplate. So that is one of the important aspect of the faceplate. So we have the chucks also. Chucks are screwed on to the nose of the lathe spindle. So we first will try to finish up the faceplate diagram because we have to just move like that. So we have an ordinary center, the different types of centers. We have the, I already told you, we have to discuss in between the dead center, ordinary center with an included angle of 60 degrees. And this is a ball center. And this is the revolving center. Yesterday I told you, for holding the heavier jobs or workpieces. So lathes of different lathe centers are of different types. And ordinary centers are used for general purpose turning, with included angle of 60 degrees for light work, and 90 degrees they try to use for heavy work. So ball centers are also employed for taper turning operations, because in the taper turning operations mostly use the ball centers in one of the methods, tailstock setter method, because we have to minimize the wear and strain on the centers. Because if there is wear and strain on the centers, the taper turning cannot be done properly, cannot be carried out properly. So we have the revolving center also. Revolving center used tailstock, mostly in tailstock for supporting a heavy job, for revolving at high speeds. Heavy job and is revolving at high speeds. And this particular center, already I told you, whenever unlike the dead center, it revolves with the job. The name itself we have, revolving center. Only the revolving center will revolve with the job. Unlike other dead centers, ordinary center or ball center will not revolve with the job. So all these are one of the things, and we try to see the faceplate here. Faceplate, we have a particular, it carries a number of slots. I already told you, number of slots. It is a circular disc, the number of holes or slots on it, and there's a gap for the lathe dog. So these are the slots for clamping the jobs. These are slots for clamping the jobs. This is the threaded portion on the faceplate. Why the threaded portion is there? Because you have to fix the job. Suppose you want to fix the job on the faceplate, you just don't attach it, because we have threaded holes, and by means of bolts and nuts, we can fix the particular job, which is also of circular in nature, or any other job other than the circular in nature. We can just match the holes on the particular faceplate. So you just try to see the matching, because in tool room they try to just make the particular workpieces which holes of the holes or slots on the faceplate. So this what is the purpose of open slot? I already told you. The open slot or gap is this is the gap for engaging the tail of the lathe dock carrier. On the lathe dock carrier, we have a particular this one, the tail. We can easily engage that particular this one. So that is the faceplate. It is easy to draw. Only you have to have a circle, slots, and the concentric circles. How many you have to draw? You just try to see. You have to have the gap or the open slot, and these are the slots for clamping the jobs. And you have to draw the side view also. The projections, because this is fundamentals, I cannot explain as well as engineering graphics is concerned. And these are the threads, which you just have on the faceplate. So these are the nothing but it is the particular thing. So next, what we have finished. So just try to see what is the next one. This is the angle plate. So just try to go one by the other. So what is that? So I think we have jumped or not, we have to see, because sometimes skipping the pages are jumping. So what is an angle plate? Angle plate, you just try to see the diagram. Already I told you angle plate is used for supporting purpose. So we have an angle plate. This is a face plate. This is a balancing weight. This is a face plate, and this is the angle plate. This is the angle plate. You try to fix the angle plate on the face plate, and it's used. This is the job. Is used for supporting the particular angle plate. Is used for supporting the job. So this particular diagram uses the face plate along with the job mounted on the angle plate for carrying out the boring operation. For carrying out the boring operation. So what is the material of the angle plate? It's a cast iron plate machined on both the faces. You just try to see it. It's a cast iron plate machined on both the faces, and it consists of holes. It consists of holes or slots. Just try to see. These are the slots on both the faces. On both the faces, we have the holes and slots, and which this holes and slots which help in holding and clamping the workpiece. Holding and clamping the workpiece for the complex and irregular shapes. And mostly this angle plate is used along with the face plate. It is used along with the face plate. So all these are very important aspects you try to see. And if the holding face of the face plate is kept in the horizontal direction, you just try to see. Holding face of the face plate is kept in the horizontal direction. So all that you have to observe. And these are the slots which you have on the angle plate. And this is the side view of the angle plate. This is the angle plate which is fixed on the face plate. And this is the job, complex job or irregular shape of the job. And mostly you use the face plate, you use the angle plate for carrying out the boring operation. All these are simple diagrams, but without practicing with pencil, don't practice with pen. Already I told you, if you are drawing with pen 100% correct also, no marks will be awarded. So these are the bolts which are used for fashioning the particular angle plate on the face plate. So all these are very important aspects you have to consider. So this is the job. This the center one is this is the job, and this is the angle plate. This is the angle plate which is used to support the irregular jobs or complex jobs, irregular shape of the job or complex job. These are very important things. I already told you to be very clear about the particular diagrams which you have to draw, which carry 60% weightage as far as that particular question is concerned. So different types of lathe dog carriers are there. Different types of lathe dog carriers are there, and these are the lathe dog carriers. Why we are putting a particular gap on the faceplate? Because it has to accommodate this tail. This is the tail of the lathe dog. This is the tail of the lathe dog. I am showing by the arrow this particular this cursor, and this is the tail of this, and this these are the bolts for clamping the job. These are used for lathe dog carriers, the attachments, the particular accessories which are used along with the faceplate. And on the faceplate, you have to have a gap or a particular slot to accommodate the particular tail portion of the lathe dog. Tail portion of the lathe dog. So different types of lathe dog carriers are there. This is a simple type, and this is the particular bolts are there. These bolts are there at an inclination and an angle. But in this particular lathe dog, we have only one bolt for clamping the job. So it depends upon the particular job, the job we try to use that particular type of lathe dog carrier. So all these are very important, and you just try to see the particular lathe dog. The particular lathe dog. This is the lathe dog. This is the lathe dog, which is the tail will be going in the slot or the gap of the faceplate, and this is the faceplate with the circular holes or slots, and this is the tool which is used for machining of the particular job, and this is the particular tailstock side or the live center, and this is the clamping part or clamping portion of the particular dead center. All these are very important things you have to consider. Very important things you have to consider. So these are the diagrams. Already I'm sharing with the CRs. You try to, every day, even immediately after the class or in the evening. So I'll just try to be specific. Don't waste your time, because already you have 2 on supply, and 3-1 also you have to compulsory go for day-to-day classes. So don't waste your time in other in extracurricular activities other than the technical. So use of dog carrier is used for turning a job between centers. So the dog carrier is carries at one end, is clamped with the job, while the other end is engaged in the open slot. While the other end is engaged in the open slot of the faceplate. Open slot or the gap, which is screwed on the lathe spindle. So you have to say machine. So all this you have to be careful in the whether it is a short answer question or the big one. So just try to see that. Ajad, are you listening? Ajad?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Sometimes the net connection goes and it will become mute now. So just try to unmute myself. So just try to tell.
Okay,
so okay. So this is the particular whatever chucks we are discussing. What is chuck? Simply a chuck is used for holding and rotating the workpiece. So all these are very important aspects you have to consider. And we have the 3-jaw chuck, and the 4-jaw independent chuck is a universal chuck. It can be independently actuated and adjusted during holding the job by a key. This is the key. What is the drill chuck here? Yesterday I discussed about for performing the drilling operation with the drilling attachment, which is there at the tailstock end. So almost all type of jobs, that is cylindrical, square, and irregular shapes are easily held in this chuck, a 4-bar independent chuck or the universal chuck. So what is a chuck? A chuck is used for holding and rotating the workpiece of short length. Large diameter and irregular shapes we cannot hold by means of the faceplate. That's why you use a independent chuck, 4-jaw independent chuck. Depends the 3-jaw chuck or the 4-jaw chuck, because 4-jaw chuck any type particular shapes can be held. So nowadays we are using mostly the 4-jaw independent chuck. So this is a keyhole, this is a key, this is a jaw movement. It will be opening and closing. If you want to clamp the jaw, you have to open the jaws, and this is the jaw. You just try to see, and the jaw movement will be like this. The jaw will be opening in this particular direction. You just try to see the arrows in both the directions. So this is a very important aspect of this particular 4-jaw independent chuck. And you have to, in the work holding devices, these are the work holding devices. Later on, we can discuss about the tool holding devices. But as of now, in the lathe accessories, we are discussing this work holding devices. So all these are definite things you have to discuss. So you have to draw this is the job. You have to hold the job in the chuck. That is the 4-jaw chuck, and these are mostly the magnetic type, magnetic or powered by means of the power drawn. What is the power drawn at the spindle? So if it is an automatic jaw clamping and unclamping, so after the job is finished, you try to unclamp the particular job from the chuck. So all these are very important aspects you have to consider. So next slide we'll try to go. So everything diagram based. You just try to see only 3 or 4 lines, or mostly maximum up to 5 lines you have to explain, but the diagram is very important. So just try to see. So the diagram. So this is a diagram related to a 3-jaw self-centering chuck. Self-centering. So it has 3 jaws. All of them are advanced or retracted simultaneously. Advancement and retraction simultaneously we can make by turning the key. So what is the key? By turning this key, we can make with the help of the that particular key. Already we have shown in the independent chuck. So like a chuck key, like a drill chuck key, we have a chuck key here, and we'll be using to the key is placed in any of the three keyholes. The 3 keyholes are made on the periphery of the jaw. Periphery on the edge of the jaw. Periphery means on the edge of the jaw. They're made. So all these are very important aspects. This is the body of the chuck. This is the chuck face. This is the jaw, which can be used for this advancement or retraction. So retraction means whenever you want to clamp, whenever you want to clamp, you just try to, whenever you want to unclamp, you just try to retract backwards. Advancement and retraction simultaneously they can be done by turning this particular key, which with the help of a chuck key, we can which is the keyhole which is placed on the periphery on the edge of the chuck. On the edge of the chuck, there is a keyhole. You cannot show all the 3 views. Only in one of the chuck he has told, and this is the scroll plate. Scroll plate is only for that particular clamping and unclamping. It helps in clamping and unclamping. So this is the pinion. So the particular movement can be the mechanism of the particular the chucks can be made with the help of the pinion, and this the scroll plate and pinion. So mostly in combination we can make. So what are the other types of chucks? Other types of lathe chucks include the collet chucks, magnetic chucks, hydraulic or pneumatic chucks. These are the other things. Collet chucks are mostly the collets which are used in the drilling for holding the drilling tool, or the boring tool or the reaming tool. And the magnetic chucks, they're operated by magnet, and the hydraulic by means of the hydraulic means, and pneumatic by means of air. Hydraulic means you have a hydraulic cylinder. In this pneumatic chucks, we have a pneumatic cylinder. So the air will be coming from the compressor, and the chuck is actuated. Actuation means the movement of the chuck can be made by means of a pneumatic cylinder in case of a pneumatic chuck, and by means of a hydraulic cylinder in the case of a hydraulic chuck. So this particular lathe chucks are many types, but mostly you discuss about the 3-jaw self-centering chuck and the 4-jaw independent chuck or the universal chuck. So you just try to not collect it. This is a collet chuck. C is not there. Spelling mistake is there in the standard textbooks also. You just try to see collet. Collet. It's known as collet. So we have the mandrel. Already I told you mandrel is used for the alignment test, because directly you cannot check the trueness of the particular spindle, the trueness of the particular spindle you have made, you have inserted in the spindle housing at the headstock center. So you have to use a mandrel. Mandrels are nothing but the hardened steel pieces of round bar, and are used for holding the board jobs. So what is the board jobs? Already the jobs which having drilled or bored holes for the purpose of turning them at outside. So externally we want to turn them, you can use them. So all these are very important aspects you have to discuss. So these are the various types in the particular diagram. You can see the various types of mandrels. One is the screw type of mandrel. The other one is the taper collar type of mandrel. The third one is the expansion mandrel. So in one of the diagrams, he has shown the typical tapered collar type mandrel. You can see in the next figure. So this is the typical tapered collared mandrel. So why I told you mandrel not only for the particular holding the particular workpieces of irregular shape or something. Already I told you for hollow workpieces, it is used for holding the hollow workpieces between the centers that are previously bored or drilled. We have given the jobs which are previously drilled or bored holes. So these are very important, and these are used for the checking the alignment of the particular acceptance test on a lathe machine or a milling machine or radial drilling machine. So they are fixed at the headstock center. The particular they made of EN steel, or the particular different types of steels are there, EN36 or EN8 or EN24. They are gone for heat treatment. They should not be used in the soft condition, and of a particular diameter of 20 or 25 mm they are made, and these are very much important as far as for the alignment tests also, because if you want to check the trueness of the spindle or for the true running of the spindle, you have to use this mandrel. You have to fix at the headstock side or the live center side. So this is a tapered, this is a lathe center, this is a fixed collar. You just try to see, this is a fixed collar, and the mandrel will be, this is already a previously drilled bore, and this is the job, this is a tapered collar, and you have to see that this is a nut, and you have to fix the mandrel at particular the headstock side or the live center side, the spindle side of the lathe machine at the left hand side. So this particular figure is showing the use of a taper collared mandrel, because you have to turn the surface of a job, turn the surface. This is a bored hole. So this is the mandrel you are using. This is the middle one. The middle portion is a mandrel. This is the lathe center. We have the two types of collars. One is the fixed collar and the tapered collar. That's why it's known as a tapered collar mandrel. So it is used for turning the face, the surface. These are the surface of a job. So the tapered collars, you just when you fit properly in the bore and tighten, it will be helping to hold the job rigidly with the mandrel. Because if the tapered collars are not there, we cannot hold hold the job rigidly, because no play or any light movement should not be there. Because if a light movement or a slackness is there in the design, in the tapered collar design, the mandrel will not be useful. So that's why you have to do mandrel in such a way that it fits properly in the board, and you have to tighten it, and this can be revolved. Later it can be revolved between the lathe centers for machining on the sides, for machining on the surface of the jobs. You just try to see the particular this hatched portions of this particular job or workpiece. So steady rest. So what is steady rest? There are two types of, already I told you. One is the steady rest, the other one is the follower rest. So you have to see the functions of both of this one. The diagrams are there. So what is the function of a steady rest? It is used when a long job is machined. When a long job is machined or drilled at its end. So it is used for holding the job in a chuck. So why we have to use steady rest? Because it avoids the job under deflection of the job. Because you know whether it is because overhanging beam or a cantilever beam or a simply supported beam, there's a deflection for each and everything. You already studied in strength of materials. But hello? Additionally, we have that particular deflection under the action of the cutting forces on the tool. So that particular deflection you have to calculate in the acceptance test and try to use design a steady rest when you're using a long job. When you're using a long job, due to the overhanging nature of the long job, there may be an additional deflection of the job, and the job consistency or that particular roundness cannot be achieved. Consistency or roundness are one of the geometric features, just like parallelism or perpendicularity or squareness of the job. So the steady rest is fixed in one position with the lathe. Just try to see the diagram, and this is one of the particular steady rest, the steady rest. So it's fixed in one position with the lathe. So the follow rest, what is its function? It is used for turning a long and thin job. Slender. For long and thick jobs, you use steady rest. For long and thin jobs, follow rest. So it's also maybe fixed between the centers, and because we have a deflection under the action of cutting forces, when you are using the particular lengthier jobs, you are using the steady rest and the follower rest. You are using the steady rest and the follower rest. The follower rest is connected with the carriage. You just try to see. And this is and so it moves along with the tool. So it moves with the tool as the turning operation proceeds. So that is and it is used for long and thin jobs, slender. So it is fitted opposite to the cutting tool. Fitted opposite to the cutting tool. So on the carriage, you just try to see. The position is also very important. The follower rest is connected with the carriage. So that is one of the differences between the steady rest and follower rest. Steady rest for long and thick, and the follower rest is for long and thin. So all these are very important things you have to keep in mind. So I'm going for a new share, because yesterday some 15 minutes or 10 minutes were lost due to that. So I will go for the new share. Okay. The taper turning operations we'll discuss. Okay. So yesterday, where we have come, you know, those who are just attended yesterday's class, you just try to see, or not attended also shared the particular class PPT or PDF with the particular CRs, just try to see. If they are delaying and sharing, try to inform. by unmuting yourself, any one of the student or participant of section A or section B. Not anything, but you have to see that things go smoothly. So just try to discuss all this are already over yesterday. At the 50th or 51 minute every day we are having a problem. I don't know whether it's the internet problem or other problems as far as the Zoom link is concerned. So yesterday I told about using of all the tools in a single job also. In the one of the diagrams I have discussed that this particular diagram, what we have, it is a figure, this particular figure which I am scrolling up. So all this we have discussed yesterday. So 6.56D is very important. So other lathe operations already were discussed. Now we will go for the taper and taper turning. So at a cylindrical job is nothing but it decreases gradually in diameter. Already we have discussed what is the capital D big N diameter for a conical shape of a particular job. If you want to have a conical shape, just said to be tapered, we have capital D on one side and big N diameter on one side and small d on other side, and L. What is L? L is the tapered portion. So what is the taper angle? Taper angle is the angle, included angle between the tapering holes of a job. Yesterday we discussed this on how to find out the tan of the half of the taper angle. So 1/2 into 20. How you got this 20 means that it is a taper of taper is also given in the data of 1 in 20. So you have to see that you have to see all this particular calculations for the theoretical calculations, because theoretical calculations are very much necessary when you want to find the actual angle by using a sine bar in metrology lab. So you have to find out the theoretical angle, and you have to see how much amount of slip gauge is height, because sine bar principle of sine bar is sine theta is equal to h by L. So you have to find out that height h height of the slip gauge. So theta you have to find by the simple calculation of tan alpha is equal to d minus d by 2L. There L is the length of the tapered portion of the job. Suppose tan alpha you have got this 0.025. In the calculation, you have to see that the particular taper angle is 1 degree 26 minutes. You just try to see this diagram. You can understand better. So this diagram, this is the taper side, this is the big N diameter, this is the small N diameter, this is the length of the tapered portion, and this is the total included angle or taper angle is 2 alpha. But while calculating only one side of the taper, you cannot go for two sides at once simultaneously. That's why you are taking only alpha there. So tan alpha is equal to d minus d by 2L. So taper turning is a type of turning operation, just like simple turning or step turning. So in which the diameter of the job is gradually reduced. So as the turning proceeds along the job length. In conical shape, you can have that particular tap the job or a workpiece in a conical shape or a cylindrical shape. Cylindrical, not cylindrical, from cylindrical to conical. And the common methods of taper turning, you just try to see. First one is the compound rush method. And compound rush method, already I told you. In the compound rush, just try to see the diagram later. It is a circular base we have. It is graduated in degrees. Whatever degree you want to just go for the job, you have to swivel it from the center line of the lathe center. This is the center line of the lathe center. So that is very important. And you have to discuss in the taper turning methods, the compound rush method and the tailstock shutdown method and the taper attack method. These are very important. Time and again is every time asking in any one of the sets, because in JNT we have all the four sets. So it's not that it is one set or one set. You have to and breadth of the syllabus as of yourself. You have to learn as a mechanical engineer. So you have to swivel it from the center lines of the lathe center through an angle equal to half of the taper angle. Already I told you. So you have to clamp by clamping the lathe carriage in place, and after adjusting and clamping the tool, you have to take several cuts for turning the taper. obtain the taper in a single pass or in a single cut. So you have to feed the tool, feeding of the tool done with the compound rest. And the compound rest feed handle you have to feed the tool. So this is the particular compound rest. This is the swivel. So this is a on the base of the compound rest. You have the graduation in degrees. This is the compound rest. So this is the edge of the bed base. So you have to swivel that particular tool at an angle with the center line of the lathe center. This is a job, and this is the compound rest handle. So you have to use the compound rest handle for the feeding the tool. For feeding the tool manually, while the depth of cut, you have to see that the depth of cut is taken with the help of cross slide. The cross slide is already, I have told you what is the function of the cross slide in the particular second class, and you have to see what is cross slide. It is the cross slide is the transverse movement of the cross slide perpendicular to the job piece, perpendicular to the spindle axis. So that is very important fundamentals you have to know. And the longitudinal action of the spindle, longitudinal axis. So the job axis and spindle axis should coincide for effective machining or for effective turning. So that is very important. So if there is they are not coinciding, there will be an offset in the job. Suppose you want an offset, you can have the offset by setting the job by the machine operator. But if the job axis and spindle axis are not coinciding, there will be a problem as far as the machining is concerned. And instead of zero offset, some offset will be induced in the job. So you have to reject that particular job. Only if offset is there in the drawing or the design, you have to. So what is offset? Tool offset. You have to take half of the tool diameter or half of the cutter diameter. Suppose cutter diameter is 1 mm. You have to take the offset as 0.5 mm. So like that, you have to go for calculation. So the tool offset and tool compensation are to be set not only in ordinary lathe, but in a CNC lathe also. You have to set the offset adjustments in the three axes, the x-axis, the y-axis, and the z-axis. In the 3-axis or 5-axis or 6-axis machining centers or the turning centers. Because for every axis there will be a servo motor to control the movement of the tool in that particular axis, x-axis or y-axis or z-axis. We'll be discussing in CAM, computer-aided manufacturing, the control systems, open loop and closed loop control systems. So that is very important, because nowadays we are going for computer-aided manufacturing or digital manufacturing to increase the productivity. Already I told you, you can increase the productivity by 800 times. That's why the initial investment is high by the management, but later they will be the fruits of that particular investment can be known in a particular period of time after 1 year or 2 years, because the profits will be immediately can be felt by the management or that particular group of persons who are investing in the company. So this alpha is tan alpha is d by 12. So this is the particular compound rest method. The tailstock set hour method, the tailstock is set hour. You have to set hour as shown in the figure from center line equal to half of the taper. So the set hour of the tailstock depends on whether you have to give the taper for the entire length of the job or for a particular length of the job or a part length. It's known as a part length of the job. So that is this particular example or the diagram will be the particular example you have given, but the diagram will help in knowing your particular people. This is the particular small l, and this is the length of the job. Capital L is the length of the job, and here small l is the tapered portion of the job, tapered portion which you want to obtain. And here h is, you have to calculate, h is equal to L, which is nothing but d minus by 2L. This is the ball center. You have to use the ball center here for this particular tailstock set hour method. Already I told you different types of centers are there, and you have to use the revolving center if the particular job is heavier and lengthier. And why revolving center? Unlike the other dead centers, it will be revolving along with the workpiece. So half alpha is half of the taper angle. H is here, capital H is known as the tailstock set over, and this is the tool that is used for the taper turning. Taper turning. So you have to draw this particular figure for the taper turning with the tailstock set over method. So in this particular case, we just try to discuss this particular one of the cases because if you want to understand the tailstock set over method, you have to, for first case, for giving taper of 1 in 10 on a job of 80 mm long, you just try to see 80 mm long is capital L, and you have to find a taper of 80 mm length. So what is that? 80 by 10. 80 by 10. 1 in 10 means the job is 80 mm. So 80 by 10, 8 mm. So what is the tailstock set over? You have to go for half into that particular value, 8 mm. So the tailstock set over is nothing but the H. So you have to see that for 8 mm, you have to go for the taper on a particular job of length L. So that is very important. So what, for a taper angle, the case 2, for a taper angle of 12 degrees, how to go on a job of 8 mm long. So you have to take the set over by taper length, or simply already I told you, sin theta is equal to H by L. Sin theta is equal to H by L. H there, H is the particular set over. L is 80 into sin theta. He has given the taper angle as 12 degrees. But already I told you I have to take half of the taper angle in the calculation. Instead of 2 alpha, I have to take this one, 6 degrees, 80 into sin 6 degrees. It is 8.36 mm. 8.36 mm. This is the theoretical calculation you have to do while calculating the particular taper angle of a particular specimen or a shaft or a spindle in the metrology lab. You have to conduct the experiment using sine bar, because in the principle of sine bar, the sin theta is equal to H by L. There L is L is the distance between the sine centers. Those who have diploma people have just studied metrology, they know, but other people cannot know. We'll just try to see in the second semester, the metrology subject. So that you have to take. But in the theoretical calculation, what I told you, tan alpha is equal to d minus d by 2L. That L is nothing but the tapered portion of the job, the tapered portion of the spindle, which is already, spindle or shaft, which is already turned. That is a taper turning in one of these methods, that is a compound rest or the tailstock set over method. So the case 3, what will be happening when the given major diameter is D and the minor diameter is small d and the tapered length is L. So you have to calculate like this. So the tailstock set over, whatever H is there, you have to calculate d minus d by 2, that is 25 minus 15 by 2, whatever value you give, into L. Suppose you try to take the L as 80 and the tapered length as 8, you can get the tailstock set over. So all these are the 3 cases are there, but in the third case will be mostly following as far as the tailstock set over in the machine shop. And in this particular, the second case mostly will go for the experimentation part, where you have to find out the H. So that particular H of this gauge. So all these are very important things, and you have to concentrate on the compound rest method and the tailstock set over method. According to the particular marks, you have to just tap turning with the form tool, because for short actional tapers, you have to use the form tools, because already I told you the form tools will be designed according to the shape of the job or workpiece you want, according to the particular design. And it should be noted that the form tool, when used for turning tapers on longer lengths, so you have to, because the vibrations will be there, and the machining on the workpiece will not be done properly. There will be the tool marks and the tear marks will be there. because in the surface we finish, or the surface texture chapter in metrology we'll be discussing, and instead of a smooth finish, you will get a rough finish, and the finish will not be the surface finish value you cannot get according to the design, and there will be chartering marks. So you have to see that for short actional tapers can be turned using a form tool. So form tool is very much necessary, and you have to make it in the, you have to design and just make it in the tool room or purchase from the tool room manufacturer. So taper turning with the taper turning attachment. So this is also a very important thing. So just try to discuss, you try to see this yourself, because or we'll try to discuss whenever we have this much time, because that's why I started with the lathe accessory and completed mostly the 3 types of taper turning. That is, we'll summarize now: the compound rest method, the tail stock setup method, and the taper turning with the form tool. So because we don't have time in 1 minute or 2 minutes, we'll just try to wind up now. So what are the things we have discussed now? We have discussed the lathe accessories. So lathe accessories are one of the things we have to discuss, and these are the centers we have discussed. The live center and dead center already have discussed. The chucks, the 3-jaw chuck, the self-centered chuck, and the independent chuck, 4-jaw chuck, or the universal chuck. You have discussed the face plate. You have discussed the face plate. You have discussed the mandrel. What is the also seen? What is the particular mandrel? It is used for the holding the hollow workpieces between the centers. Hollow workpieces between the centers. And you have seen the angle plate also. You have seen the angle plate also, which is used for holding and clamping the workpiece. All these are very important aspects of the particular lathe accessories. Attachments are the already we have discussed the attachments also. In the next class, we'll try to discuss the tool holding devices or whatever there in the sequence as per the syllabus, and you just try to just prepare daily and practice that. Okay, we'll leave. Thank you for patient listening. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.